it's your girl Zaria Lashay.
And it's your girl Essence Lashay. And today, as y'all see, we on Zoom today. And that's because we have a special guest. Alrighty, would you like to introduce yourself? This is somebody that means so much to me. It's so special to me. I really call her my own personal oracle. If y'all ever seen The Matrix, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go watch it. But yeah, so introduce yourself. What's your name?
Essence, Zaria, thank you for that great intro. I'm Gloria Abdullah-Lewis.
Yes, and Miss Gloria, I met her in my childhood. So let's give a little background on how we met, and how we reconnected, right?
Yes, yes. I met Essence when she was about second grade, and I was tutoring her in math, a
Yes.
program called Project Touchdown.
Shout out to them. Yep,
Yes.
yep.
And I enjoyed working with Essence. Essence is extremely intelligent, and she would run circles around the average person doing math. She was really good at it. And I tutored her up until she was about fifth grade. And then my children were also being tutored there. So at some point, we lost touch with each other and we reconnected last year. And it's been awesome getting to know her as an adult.
Yes. And the reason why I went to go look for Miss Gloria, because on my spiritual journey, I've been going back to my childhood and I've been finding different people that played a significant role in my life. And Miss Gloria really stood out to me. The love that she poured into me, that she gave me. Like, I was not an easy child, baby. I had an attitude, a mouth on me. Okay. So to deal with me and still show me, I could cry right now, y'all, to show me so much compassion and love, and for her to not be my family but has become my family and is a part of my new village. I am so grateful. But she has her own story, I come to find out, that I never expected. But before we get into the present of who you are, let's go back to the beginning. How were you raised? Like, where were you raised?
Wow. I am the eldest of 14 children. We
Wow.
all have the same parents. 10 brothers, three sisters, and lost a brother in 2007. But my roots started in Florida. My mom and dad were from northern Florida, and I was there until I was about 10. And I did the rest of my growing up in Alabama. And attended Alabama A&M as a college student and ended up in California doing an internship and was out there for 45 years. And that's where I
Wow.
met you, Essence.
Yes, right. So as you know, like, this is a faith-based podcast, right? We talk about our own walks and our own journey. So I know that you grew up, in being a Muslim. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you feel about that growing up?
Yeah, my dad actually became a Muslim when I was 7 years old, and Miami, Florida. And right about the time I became a teenager, I rebelled.
Right.
But I was raised in a really strict environment, and I'm grateful for the discipline that I received, but it's really tough being a girl in Islam in a rural country in Alabama. So I rebelled, and after I left home, I kind of went off on my own journey and trying to learn about other religions and why, why was this happening? Why was that happening? And I kind of came into my own being and making room for people, but doing my own spiritual walk. Growing up in a family that large, I was raised to serve. So missed out on a lot of cues, I should say, because what happened is I learned to serve and I got married. I think I met my husband in California and been married for 32 years.
And how did you guys meet?
I met my husband through a coworker. She was from Georgia slash Alabama. My husband grew up in Alabama, but they eventually moved to Georgia. But I met him through his sister. And again, we got married, been married for 32 years. However, I'm currently going through a divorce. And that kind of sparked my spiritual journey when he and I started kind of, having some issues. I'm the mother of two children. I do a lot for a lot of people. So I was working, a mother of two, a marriage that was very important to me. But also, I had an older lady in my life that was like a mom to me. And I was helping her. She was elderly, so I was doing a lot for her. She had a care home. I used to help her with that. So doing this walk, I'm doing all the things I felt was important to hold the family together. And even though I was in California, I still did a lot of things for the family that I grew up with. So I was stretched really thin. And in my mind, I felt like I was doing all the right things, but things weren't flowing. And when my marriage started to really have trouble, I'm like, what is it? What's going on? And eventually just had that moment where I was screaming at God, like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And ended up in the guest room. And when I first went into the guest room, I looked at it as my prison. I'm like, why am I over here and not with my husband? But I learned after year two that it was not my prison. It was actually a cocoon for me. It's where I really came into my own. It's where I surrendered.
Mm.
And the day that I surrendered, I was prepared. I'm like, I'm ready for this journey. I don't care how long it takes. And I'm a visual person. So I imagine myself putting on my rain gear because I felt like this rain cloud was just following me around, not so much following anyone else. And from there, I allowed myself to pay attention to my life, to the signs around me, to things that were said, things that I read, people who I came across. And I listened. And one day, a coworker came to me and she said, Gloria, I wanted to invite you to an event, but you're always busy, so I know you won't go. She continued to talk and she mentioned that her daughter had bought her tickets to this event, but I loved her daughter. So I'm like, what did your daughter say? So I'm like, I canceled like four things I had to do. I'm like, I'm going. And I ended up going to this event called Aiming High. Went there, didn't know why I was there. It was a 3-day event. And on the last day, it clicked. There was a couple there that was having problems. And I ended up having a moment. I'm like, oh my God, I know why I'm here. And I was able to pull that couple aside, share with them about my journey with marriage. And, was able to tell the young lady, your husband's here. He's trying to, work things out. He loves you. And told him the importance of marriage. Because even though I'm currently going through a divorce, it's not something that I really wanted to, but that's where we came to because it takes two to make a marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt really good about that. And from there, this program had like 3 other levels. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So to do this program, you really have to be open, willing, and allowing yourself. I went into the program and learned that I had shadows. And that was my first introduction. They picked out quickly that I felt unworthy. So
Mm.
so from there, it was very humbling. It was a lot. And when I look back through my life, I could see where I really gave up a lot of myself. I allowed a lot of things that shouldn't have happened to happen because I didn't think I was worthy of this. I didn't think I was worthy of that. And I allowed myself to be treated a certain kind of way, missed out on opportunities because of the way I viewed myself. And I immediately started working on it. I was able to identify things. And I'll give you some examples like I would go into an elevator, and instead of just standing in the elevator, I would go to a corner and made room for everybody because I always felt like I was in the way. grocery store line. People will be in front, take their time, but when I got up there, I would look back at the person behind me and go, I'm almost done. And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
and I still do it. I think about it, but I don't act the same way. But I have seen other people who've done it before, people who look like me, and I'm like, no, don't ever do
Take
that.
up space.
Take up space.
Take up space. I want to go back to surrender.
Surrender. Okay.
Because that is something that I have struggled with. As I shared with you before I came here, when I was on the plane and I thought that plane was going to go down, my mind was telling me, what would you do? What power would you use that God has given you? And God literally told me, like, do it, like, show what you would do. And I just started saying different prayers that I would say, and how I would tell the people that were on the airplane to start praying, whoever is a prayer warrior, and how I just automatically went into that. And then I did that on the next plane that I went on to, where I started praying. I didn't tell everybody on the plane to do all that. I ain't there yet. But I did start praying myself. And that's when I said, okay, on this day, I will surrender fully, right? But it's taken me a long time, right? It's taken the worst to happen for me to say, you know what, God, I'm tired of running. I can't run no more.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you truly surrender? What made you say, you know what? I'm gonna let you lead.
Okay, so the story starts about 20 years before I surrendered. Just like I'm talking to Essence and Zoria, I heard the voice that told me to leave. My children were very little, and I tried to leave, but it didn't quite work out, and I became fearful, and I didn't leave. So I feel for 20 years I paid for that.
Oh my God.
And when it came up again, when that moment in the room, I can still remember that moment when I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And I stood up with my hands up. I surrender. And I was ready. I was prepared because I got tired of being tired. I knew I was missing something. I didn't know quite what it was, but I'm like, I know I don't steal, I don't lie, I don't cheat. I worked hard to be a good mom. I helped other people. I loved my husband, even though he was doing all kind of stuff. And I'm
Right.
like, what is wrong? And I I just knew it was time. I had nothing to lose, everything to gain. And I gained a trust and a faith that has brought me so much joy. Now, it was work.
Okay, because it be hard.
It was work, and it still is. I'm not all the way through it, but oh my God, I wouldn't change anything. It's an amazing thing once you make your mind up, roll up your sleeves, do the
Ooh.
work, and it's very rewarding. That's what I can tell you.
So after you made that decision that it was time and it was time for you to surrender, what did the next step look like?
Hmm.
The next step was to listen. I started like listening to I fed myself. You have to feed. If it's something you really, really want, you have to surround yourself with it. You have to go after it. And I filled myself with information, with things I needed to know, wanted to know. Went through a lot of different things on YouTube, sought out information. Um, Started to do more praying, learned how to meditate, took walks. I was already on the journey of changing how I fed myself, food. I watched the food that I ate, watched the people, watched the information around me. Certain energy I didn't want around me. And I just took one step at a time. Um, and I was drawn to certain energies, and and that's important. You know, you can say one thing with your mouth, but you literally have to allow yourself to receive whatever it is you're looking for. And
Hmm.
became vulnerable.
Yeah.
And things like I'm not doing this anymore, and not just saying it, but actually putting actions to it.
Yeah, that's You came from California to Tennessee. How, why, what? How did that happen?
So actually, before I divorced, because I'm not divorced, I'm in the process of divorcing. Before I did that, I had been on this journey for a couple of years. And I just told my husband I'm following whatever God tells me. And I listened to my heart, and if it resonated with me. And I knew when God was talking to me, I knew what was for me, and I paid attention to it. And the difference to me is when it's for you, you don't have to work as hard. You follow in the steps you're supposed to, or whatever's supposed to come to you, it happens easily. All you need to do is be available and do what you're supposed to do. And he never gave me a hard time on it. And something kept telling me it was time for me to move. It was time for me to go. Once I got accustomed to the room, understood the room was there for my growth, and I accepted it. It wasn't easy, but I accepted it. I was obedient, and I started praying like, okay, where am I supposed to go? So from there, I actually, my older friend, she had left her home for me because she passed away, and I ended up staying there for a few months. And that part was really hard for me because I grew up in a big family. I had been married for 32 years, and I'm like, why am I here by myself?
Yeah.
But it would not let me rest.
Hmm.
And when I look back, I know that it was preparing me for this move because I now sit in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's like, yeah, how did I get here,
Yeah.
right? So I literally prayed and meditated on it. I knew I was supposed to go somewhere. And one morning coming out of a meditation, I just heard the word Tennessee. And I literally said out loud, Tennessee. And shortly afterwards, it said Melbourne. Well, that was,
Right. She showed me
yeah.
that today.
That was in September. So by October, my husband and I, we were in Melbourne, and I looked around, and it's an unincorporated city. And I'm like, God, I know you ain't sending me here. So I kind of looked around, and I took Essence today, and she validated. I'm like, God didn't want me to be here. But I moved to the city, the next largest city, because I needed to be safe. This is a different place to be. I didn't know anybody, and I needed to be safe. So I felt comfortable in Knoxville, but I decided, okay, this is where I'm going. So by March of the next year, let's see, March, I moved in May. I got here in May. And what happened was I didn't move fast enough. I knew March. That's why I brought up March. I was supposed to have been here in March. I felt it, but I was moving too slow. And one day, because nothing would go right, nothing. It was like every time I turned around, it was something. And I'm like, okay, you're not being obedient. And so one day I'm like, I'm out. I told my husband, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, I'm leaving. And we loaded up a 26-foot U-Haul, had my car on the back, and off we went. And I had found a storage. I put all my stuff in storage. I didn't even have a place to stay, but I asked him, could you stay for 2 days? And he helped me find a place. And the place that we're actually filming in now is where I found and made it my home. It has been amazing. I don't miss California. Um, I know that I'm here for a reason. And you asked where am I in this season? I'm literally in the process of creating a safe place for people. Shadows are what I talk about. That's what made a difference in my life. I feel like shadow work is everything. If you don't learn who you are, you can't make the best decisions for yourself. When you don't know what's inside of you, don't know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you make major decisions based on what you don't know. And it could be
Yeah.
things that it's not in your best interest, like me not knowing that I felt unworthy. I allowed certain things to happen when it really shouldn't have happened. And you may not know that you don't know, but some people you deal with, they could be like, oh, that's who you are, and they could take advantage of you. And I felt like, I didn't know how to say no. I was everywhere doing everything for everybody except for myself. And now that I'm in this place, I wasn't so happy it took me so long, but I believe everything happens when it's supposed to happen. So I'm now in the process of trying to create a place for people to have a safe place to talk about their shadows, or help them figure out what their shadows are, or to provide some guidance, because all of us have them, and we usually get those shadows in our childhood, when we're children. And I've learned how to embrace some of them. They've served me to do a lot of great things, but some of them haven't served me so well. So I've learned to love myself more, and to love others, because when you can love yourself, you can love other people more also. So it's been a great journey. I wouldn't change anything. And when it comes to me and my husband getting a divorce, I don't want to just share about the bad stuff, because it takes two. I feel like he was a part of my journey. He helped me to get where I am. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for him and all the things that I experienced. So I've learned how to embrace the things that happen, and to look at life as a lesson. It's like everything you go through is a lesson. It's how you get to grow. So perspective is everything. And not that you have to like it, but find a way to embrace it and get the lesson. And when you get the lesson, it makes you, a better person.
That was really good. And I want to go back and highlight one of the things that you said about like entering into this new season and now like you wanting to attract a certain kind of energy. What exactly is that you're looking for in this season?
I want to be around people who are interested in being in their purpose,
Hmm.
and walking in a light that um, God would be approving of. I feel like, especially in today's environment, we need to elevate positivity, consciousness. There's a lot of negative going on. So I feel like I'm here for that reason. And I want to be around other people who are serious about it. Not that you can't have fun, but right now, I think everybody need to be focused, and it starts with you getting to know thyself. You know thyself, and you can see yourself and how you treat yourself and the energy you put out for other people, because you affect people, whether you know it or not. And you don't have to always be the person stepping on people or taking the steps from people. There could be balance. So I want to be around those kind of people who are moving in a positive way. And I'm intentional about that. And when you are taking care of yourself and doing all the things you're supposed to, you can feel people's aura before they can even say anything.
Right,
So I'm
right.
I'm very protective. I've been here since physically since June of last year, and I've probably met like three people, because and it's on purpose. It's not that I can't meet people. I never meet a stranger, but I'm keeping my space,
Yeah.
very, very close to me. I don't want to invite all kinds of energies in right now. But when I do step out, I'll be prepared to meet other people, and to actually, when you're doing the work God wants you to do, you have to go to where the people are that need it. So I'll be prepared for that.
Yeah. And what's the biggest thing that you would like to share with the audience today? You speak a lot about you wanting to create a safe space for individuals. What does that look like?
It looks like um I see a couple of things. I see myself working with groups where people are sharing their stories, and I think that one of the things people don't know, you may be going through something, but a lot of other people are too. It may have a different face, a different name, but it's the same journey. So hearing other people, go through and share what their story is could be helpful to you. That's one way, but another is on an individual basis. And some of the tools I would be suggesting is, the sharing, journaling, writing a book, just to get it out. Just different ways that you can find your shadows. And then when you do find them, be prepared to actually work through them. Some shadows can be more complex than others. And the more complex, that's where I would suggest, getting a professional to help you to work through them. But basically, the hardest thing in the world is to look in the mirror and to own some of the things that are difficult for you to look at. But not knowing what to look at is kind of where I come in at. So just talking about some things like, some of the things that come up and may bother you, or some situations that keep showing up, but you haven't quite figured out why they keep showing up. Like for my own story, why aren't things flowing for me the way that I need them to? You do this and you're expecting a different kind of outcome, and I wasn't getting it. So I needed to know, what am I missing? Like even in this program that I was in, I remember they had this exercise and they would point out a person who they didn't feel was giving 100. And they pointed me out. And I was so hurt. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And they said, like, we don't feel you show up. They felt like I was really holding things and not sharing. But I said, I am. I said, I'm here because I know something's missing. I just don't know what it is. And it took someone else to help me find the words, because I knew something was missing. I just didn't know what it was. But when I found out what it was, I didn't feel like my journey was just for me. I feel like I went through all this stuff because I'm supposed to make a way for people coming behind me. No one else should ever have to go through this if I can help it. So it took me this long to even hear the word shadow. So let me help others figure out what this thing is so they can get on the right track a lot sooner. And again, it's really rewarding when you are walking in the path that you know that you should be walking in.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing that I always highlight is oftentimes, no shade to the older generation, you know what I mean? But I'm just being honest, oftentimes they don't want to do the work. So they're always saying that happened in the past. I'm over it. Oh, I can't worry about that. Like, just forget about it. Move on. Stop blaming your parents for what you've gone through. Just that's life. We all go through it. What do you say to the older generation that doesn't want to do the work? Why you? Why did you decide based off of you come from the same generation? So what made you say, you know what? I'm not going to fall into that. I'm going to actually do the work.
What I tell them, and I do tell them, I think it's not fair for you to have had a whole life, had a lot of experience, and you not give back. I don't think that your life is just for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you just have to stand in the middle of the street and tell your business, but I do think that you need to find a way to give back to the people coming behind you. And I feel like that's how God works. He works through people. You're a vessel, and you can find ways to share your journey, share whatever it is, even if this is your career. If you've learned how to do something, reach back and help people, because that's what keeps the world moving forward. It keeps people from making the same mistakes. And it doesn't mean that it'll stop someone from making a mistake, but it'll give them an option in another way. And you never know who you are able to help. So I feel like it's my obligation, and I can't see it any other way. I really think it's a crime not to give back. So I don't have a lot of patience for people who don't give back. And I will definitely speak my piece, but I will not spend time around them. I will not give them my energy, because a lot of times when people are like that, they don't give, but they'll take. So I don't understand people that don't give back.
Yeah.
But I do voice it. I don't just sit there and don't say anything. I do tell them I feel like it's your obligation. It's our responsibility to give back. and maybe
Yeah.
if somebody had given back to you, because sometimes it's not just them not giving back. It's like, well, nobody helped me, you know. And
Yeah.
it's like, just because someone helped you don't mean that you can't be the first person to start, to give back. It makes a difference in people's lives.
What do you want to leave with our audience today?
What do I want to leave? First of all, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. It's been great to share.
Yes.
But if you get nothing else from this conversation, do the work, find out who you are. You're much greater than you will ever know. And while some people may have had some things happen to them, um, you can't go back and change the past, but you can change your future, and you can find a way to make it your superpower and become your greater self. And a lot of times we experience things because we're used so we can help the next person or help the people coming behind us. So find a way to be your greater self, because you came here to do something great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, Before we close out, we want to do like the song of the week. We either do song of the week or scripture of the week. It's up to you. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a faith-based song. It'll be whatever song you like. Seriously.
Wow, I'm not prepared for that. A
A
song.
song. You could say your song that you love with your name in it.
It's got too many curse words in it.
That's okay.
So I was sharing with Essence that Kendrick Lamar had made a song about Gloria. I did watch the Super Bowl, and he had my name on his jacket. So I, started doing a little research, heard that the song was on his latest album. And while it has a lot of profanity in it, I love the message, and it had a twist to it. And there's just one part in there where he calls my name. So I was telling her that I really enjoyed,
And what's the name of the song?
Gloria. Yeah.
Do you have a song or a scripture of the week, Zaria?
Okay, I know my song. So right now I've been listening to Let Go. Um, it's the real popular song that was written by PJ Morton, but it was performed by, I don't even want to say his name wrong. But y'all know the song, the gospel song, Let Go. But I've been listening to the PJ Morton version that he did on his like live taping with the Walls group. And it's really just been speaking to me just about letting go and just letting God and allowing him to just move how he's going to move. I came across this song again, like I've always known it, but I've been playing it over the last few days after I had an opportunity to go to PJ Morton's songwriting workshop. And when I was there and he was singing it, it just kind of just stuck with me, and it's just really been ministering to me this week.
Nice. My song is Cycles by Jonathan McReynolds. That song is so good to me because it just talks about, not going in cycles, and like the enemy gonna keep you in the same cycles over and over if you allow it, and to break outside of that. And really, to me, what I was saying about the playing moment and the surrender aspect of things is like you have to fully surrender to God, because if you don't, you will end up in the same cycles. And you don't want to be, like the Israelites. You get what I'm saying? 40 years. I want to get up out of this. I don't want it to keep taking so much time. I want to break free from these cycles so that I can live my best life and fully walk into what God has for me. So, yeah, with peace, okay, and joy. That's the key part, right? So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. It
Thank
was a
you.
pleasure
Thank
having
you. Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys were blessed by this episode, and I hope you guys learned something. Heal, heal. That's the key thing.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.